Hello, I'm Amanda and welcome to my channel, Amanda Gets Growing. It's a small channel and I've got a small garden and that's actually one of the things I want to talk about today. How to make the most of your space in a small garden. It's that time of year when, I've got some seedlings that are growing really strongly, they're ready to go in the ground and I'm looking around me and I'm going, where am I going to put these plants? I mean, it's an excellent problem to have, right? But nevertheless, I've got to find a solution to it. And yeah, so I'm going to share some tips and tricks in this video, which I hope you find helpful. If you have a small garden, especially if it's an established small garden, first, I really think you need to think about what plants are already in the garden and if you want to keep them. And it's no coincidence that I've started this video next to this shrub, because every year it flowers and every year I think, I really don't like the flowers. And I've done nothing about it. Well, I tried to get rid of one of them because there's 3 in a row. And I really think after it's finished flowering this year, it is the time to remove this shrub and consider how I can better use this space. Because like the decluttering experts say, you shouldn't have objects that don't spark joy. And this plant here, it doesn't spark joy and it doesn't have a purpose. And it's literally right by my kitchen window, so I see it every day. So it's going to go. I've come down here to the bottom of my garden next to my new shed. Yay, which is terribly exciting for me, I can't tell you. But the reason I've done that is because when you have a small garden, you need to be extra creative and you need to think big transformations. If you haven't seen it, I did a whole video about how I transformed my front garden by removing this massive conifer bush and then putting down 4 decent sized planters where I'm growing tomatoes this summer. And I will give you an update on that very shortly. But what I realised is by finally getting around to this job of replacing the shed and some of the fencing here, I've now opened up a whole new growing space that I can use this summer. Admittedly, it doesn't look like very much at the moment, but as you can see, there's a whole space there in front of this shed, which is not being used. And I've got big ideas now. So what I'm thinking of, there's a couple of things I'm thinking of. The first thing is that when we've had the heat wave this year, my seedlings have not done very well on the patio because it's been getting a bit too warm for them. Now this spot under the shed, there's a massive cherry tree above it. So it's lovely and shady and it could be perfect for my seedlings. That's my first thought. I'm also thinking I could get like a big planter here, big green planter, maybe similar to what I've got out in the front, but oblong, and fill that with compost and then use it to grow plants that don't like a lot of sun. So, leafy greens, salads, brassicas and so on. And by doing that, I'm then using this space, making it useful, and I'm actually freeing up some parts of my garden that get a lot more sun for plants that need those extra light conditions. Because it's a small garden and it's the biggest thing in it, it really is the focal point of the garden. So I really need to find a way to make this space look as good as possible, because it's the thing I look at every morning when I make a cup of tea or at night when I'm doing the dishes. So it really does make sense to transform this and make it the most productive and beautiful that it can be. The other thing you should think about is, are you growing the food that you actually want to eat or the flowers that you like to look at? And are you growing them in the right number? So it may well be, and I've got a situation in my garden here with red sorrel where I like to eat it, but I only like it as maybe like 1 or 2 leaves in a salad. And I've got so many red sorrel plants and they're completely taking over my beds. So obviously I'm going to be removing them and putting in some other salad plants that I've got growing, like the Mizuna, which I showed in the seed compost experiment. I've also got some lovely red lettuce, Lollo Rosso, that I'm going to be putting in there. And yeah, I'm going to keep some of the red sorrel plants, but I definitely don't need them in that number. Yeah, so just to show you what I mean by maybe having too much of one plant in a bed, you can see here that this bed has been completely overtaken by the red sorrel. I like it, but I don't like it this much. So yeah, I'm going to thin out some of these plants. I'll keep a few back, but just take out a few of them to give me that bit of extra space. This then is a very small selection of some of the plants that I have that are ready to go in the garden when I've cleared up a bit more space. As you can see over here, I've got some perpetual spinach. So that's going to be a lovely salad leaf, and also I could have that, I guess, use that as a vegetable too. And then also here I've got some chard, some lollo rosso. So lollo rosso is a beautiful red lettuce leaf, absolutely delicious. Some bull's blood, which is like a beetrooty salad leaf, and then my mizuna. It's a funny thing about my mizuna. I really thought I was going to have so many mizuna plants because I planted them for the seed compost experiment. But it's just as well I did have so many because a blackbird started pecking away in here looking for food. And yeah, I lost a few, unfortunately. But never mind, that's the way it goes. And then, yeah, I just wanted to give a very quick update in terms of the courgette plants. So this was the first one that germinated. If you remember, this was in the seed compost experiment that I did, and this was growing in the coir mix. It's a bit bigger than when I showed you on the original video. That was funny. And then, yeah, this one here also germinated in the coir mix. I put it in a separate pot because it was too much for them both to be in the same pot. But yeah, that's looking really healthy. And then finally, the only other courgette plant that germinated out of the other 3 compost mixes, so there was the Dales for vegetable mix, the ericaceous, and then there was the rocket grow seed mix. The only other one that germinated, weirdly, was in the ericaceous mix. I find that so weird, but it looks pretty healthy. And yeah, I'm not too disappointed in that because I think really 3 courgette plants is enough for one woman. And we all know if you start getting courgettes, you can get so many and get a real glut of them. So yeah, just very interesting results though. And I thought I'd give you an update on that. Here then is the slightly wider view of the shrub that I've decided to remove. I just wanted to give you an idea of how much space it's taking up. You can see if I take that out, it's literally going to free up another couple of meters, I guess. And I think as well, it would give me the opportunity to use the space there against the fence. I'd really like to grow some climbers, like some honeysuckles or something in this space, because I love honeysuckle and I haven't got any climbers in this garden at the moment. I did already have a go at tackling the shrub in the spring, and you can see the small plant down there on the right, which is next to the yellow Welsh poppy, where I already chopped it back. So it's just this remaining really that needs a good trim. And yeah, I'm going to do that after it's finished flowering because I know the bees do like the flowers. So I shall wait until after it's flowered, I think, to make that change. That then is my short video about how you can make the most out of your small growing space. I really hope that you found some of the ideas that I shared helpful. To recap, I think there's 2 main takeaways. One is just look at your space in a new way and think about, are there plants there that you've inherited or that maybe you've had for a while and you just don't really want them anymore? To put it bluntly, they're not serving a purpose. And, get rid, be ruthless. And I have to remind myself of that because I'm not very good at it either. And the second thing is, small gardens, think big. So the smaller your garden, the more creative you need to be, and the more you need to think about big transformations. And yeah, it's amazing. Once you start doing that, you start seeing so many more opportunities and different ways that you can grow plants. And that's what I've experienced since I transformed my back garden, my front garden, now with the shed. I'm having new ideas all the time. So yeah, just be bold. And I also have to say, don't see it as a negative. So actually, that's what I really enjoy about having a smaller garden, is that I really have to think very creatively about how I use my space. And I really enjoy that because in my day job, I guess like a lot of us, it's a very mundane 9-to-5 day job, I don't really get to do a lot of creative thinking. And I really enjoy that I get to, let rip and do whatever I want in my own garden and go wild with all these different ideas. And that's the freedom and flexibility that gardening can give you. So ending on that philosophical note, if you do have any other suggestions about what I could do in my garden, other ways I could transform the space, or things that you're doing in your small garden to transform it, do let me know in the comments section.